found imvume yokushandisa chirungu pamusesana kuita because kuti recording zvamukuona zvaari kuita which we are going to share with other people that may not be able to understand Shona Chukutawa. But the next phase of the workshop will be entirely, any language that you are comfortable to use. All right. So my name is Wadzai. I'm the director of the Vendors Initiative for Social and Economic Transformation research. The organization works with informal traders, cross-border traders, street vendors, tax shop owners, you name it, any informal trader. So the purpose is to make sure that we have got a platform to air our views and to speak with one voice whenever we have challenges. We're able to, we can say these are the challenges and take them to authorities. But today I want to specifically speak to issues to do with how to grow our businesses. But with main focus on sources of startup capital. So my understanding is that part of this group, we have got people who are in business, or people who are aspiring to get into business. We want to take you through the processes of ensuring that if you want to get into business, you are able to do that quickly and also to make money quickly. So I just want to appreciate how we have managed to get capital to start business. And also to say, if we have the capital, how are you going to make sure that you are able to pay it back if you borrowed it from someone, and the methods that you are going to use to pay back the money. Why I'm saying this? It's because as an organization, it's part of the work that we do to support entrepreneurs to grow their businesses. And in the event that you start a business and you fail, we are there to pick you up and support you. So I just want to have that appreciation of how you manage to grow a business and what were your sources of finance. So I will allow those that are able to contribute to this conversation through English and to speak to it. But before I do that, I will just do an introduction of the topic that I want us to focus on. Of course, there are many sources of capital, startup capital. You can get money from the bank. You can get money from friends. You can get money from family. But the trust is, if you get the money, how are you going to pay it back? And I think it's tightly linked to the issue of confidence. The relationships that you have developed with people over time. So as an introduction, I just want to hear from one or two of you how they managed to get startup. Just one or two, my brother.
I am Wadzai, and I am into this business of selling bricks, first bricks around.
Bricks?
Yes, bricks. What I did was I asked for a loan from a friend, and we agreed on payment terms. So he gave me a certain amount, which I went and bought about 10,000 bricks for resale. So the payment plan was or is 24 months. That amount, we agreed that we are going to stagger it and pay it back within 24 months. That is how I started. And unfortunately, the business was partially affected by this COVID pandemic, but I'm striving to make things happen.
Thank you so much, my brother, for that information. Any other contribution? Yes,
Mine, I'm into port project. So how did we started to raise capital? It's like we pulled funds together as a family. So I don't know, should we call it a family partnership or what? But we put the resources together as a family. Then we managed to build the chicken run, and we managed to buy our initial stock in the chicks, and we are thriving out of that. So we didn't go to the bank or anywhere because we didn't have enough collateral security which was needed by the bank. So we pulled the resources together as a family. That's what we did.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Very interesting stories and from the two contributors. But I just want to take you through the definition that I have on startup capital. What is startup capital? Probably that will be our introduction. This refers to the owner's own money used to start a business. I quickly took you to sources, and that was deliberate, because I wanted to give an appreciation of how you failed, how you became linked to the money that you used to start up a business. There are many stories. There are many motivational, stories about how people start businesses. But it's important to take note of this. When you start a business, you have to be reliable, so that you don't start a business and simultaneously start enemies. It said they started the business through failing enterprise. My brother said he started the business through friends enterprise. You need to continue to have those relationships throughout the lifespan of the early stages of your business. Because without those people who supported you when you didn't have a cent, you will not go anywhere. So relationship first. What is the second thing? The second thing is accountability. When you get the money, you should be able to account not only to others, but even to yourself. To say, I used $2 today. How did I use it? How did my business benefited from the enterprise that I pursued today? So accountability is very, very important. In fact, I equate it to relationships. If you don't have good relationships, startups are very difficult to manage. If you don't have accountability principles, if you you are not able to say how much I used today and what I used it for, it's very difficult to use startup capital. So the next question is, what do you need to do to get startup capital? For example, you don't have a family like what it said that is able to give you sufficient resources. For example, you don't have friends with enough money to spare to give you to start your business. I'm posing this to you. What do you have to do? What are the other opportunities? What are the other avenues for you to start a business? I want us to talk about specific activities that we can do besides relying on family, besides relying on friends, like the two contributors mentioned. What other avenues, what other opportunities can we explore, my brother?
Actually, when we think about business, what most people think, or what comes into people's mind when it comes to business or starting a business, is they think of starting big. So once you think of starting big, you end up thinking, I cannot do anything. As a startup or as an entrepreneur who wants to take risks, what we have to do, we have to start small. You can actually start by rearing two chicks, and then each step you take, then after 2 months you find there are 4, then from there you grow big. You end up having 10, 15, 20 chicks. But most of us here, when they think about business, we think of going to the banks, borrow money. It's very unfortunate that in today's world, these banks are actually looking at people who got collateral security, people maybe who are working in the government, and yet it is very difficult to get employment. So you maybe look at your capabilities, your potentials, go for farming, you maybe have just 1 hectare, you start doing subsistence farming, then out of subsistence farming, you take a little stuff, you sell to the GMB or whoever buyers who are around, and then from there you grow big. What is only needed is maybe the mind and that courage to take risks. Because as an entrepreneur, you have to take risks so that at the end of the day you get profit.
Exactly.
That is what I think.
Exactly. Very important point, actually. Very important point. Because entrepreneurs, you are prone to risks, and we are all aware of that. Especially considering our environment in Zimbabwe. Very fluid economically, very fluid political, very fluid social. So we need to be very alive to those changing dynamics. Any other contributor before I move to the next point that I want to share with you? We talked about 2 sources of capital for startups: family and and friends. What other sources do we have? From the bank. Thank you. For getting to.
I just want to say thank you, Roman, from the beginning.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Come on, thank you.
Yeah, and I was thinking, let me try to explain it from my experience as a failure in small enterprise or business.
No. You are not a failure. Failure is not an option.
It's an option.
It's not on the agenda.
That's good correction.
You know what? Failing is a very good starting point.
Oh, yeah.
Because it gives you the energy to pursue if you want to pursue. failure gives you the opportunity to correct things.
Oh, that's correct.
So it's an opportunity to do it right. Quality.
Thanks very much. I think now, since it is now an opportunity,
Yeah.
you know, there's another thing I've learned down here, but in the law of shopping. And I've tend to have an option of going farming, where you could have 1 hectare, or like you have sesame, Nika and Sean. If you try to have a small portion, say half a hectare, I think you can have a big lump sum tomorrow. For example, a half hectare can give you 10 bags of sesame, you sell it, you end up having 5,000 or something, or 6,000 rands. You can start to venture in another business. I think that's another thing I've learned and tried to experiment it out in the world.
Exactly. Which brings us to the next topic that I wanted